Found this video on gymnast fears and roundoff back handsprings. Wanted to talk about it and see what are the things we like. One thing you're going to find is I believe that the coach and what she presents in this video is really good information. But I'm going to be stopping and going and talking more about the athlete and what I'm noticing in the athlete's body language and effort, so that you as a coach can kind of glean from that as you're working with your students on understanding how they're processing their roundoff back handspring. But if you want to come back and find this video, I'll put the link into the video in the description so you can actually listen to it without me stopping and going with the commentary. The coach really seems to have a good handle on the concept of overcoming fear, and so I'd encourage you to watch the video through without my interruptions. But we're going to dive right in because I'm excited to break this down for you.
Front. So every gymnast will experience fear, and each of them handle it in their own way. As a gymnast and a coach, you have to learn how to.
Everyone's going to deal with fear, and that's a very real thing. And as a gymnastics coach, you do need to understand how to overcome fear. It's huge. Something I want to bring up here in the sense of the athlete. Here's what my understanding is of overcoming fear. Okay, I want you to notice where her eyes are looking when her feet come down. See where her eyes are looking? They're looking in the direction of her hands. She cannot see her feet. And one thing I've identified is that people who struggle with connecting back tumbling, roundoff back handsprings, I was one of those people as well. I'm 6'2", and I had to teach myself how to back tumble. It's very awkward and scary. I don't have the shoulder flexibility. There's a lot of stuff. But the thing I've identified, one huge problem in connected back tumbling is athletes can't see their feet. You go look at any high-level tumbler and you slow them down in their roundoff back handspring or any sort of back tumbling connections, they have the ability to see their feet if they want to. Doesn't mean they have to, but she doesn't even look at her feet, okay? She's not even looking at her feet. She doesn't know where her feet are. She's just looking forwards ahead. You see that step going right there? Because she doesn't know where her feet are means that she doesn't actually know where the ground is. She's looking at the wrong part of the ground because she's not pivoting on the ground where her hands are. She's pivoting on the ground where her feet are. And so she doesn't have a good frame of reference. And because she doesn't have a good frame of reference, she's struggling. So that's the first thing, is frame of reference, I would say, is number one key thing to make sure that you train in your athletes is have a good frame of reference. The other thing that I identified in just the video, just watching so far, is that she has no finish position. We'll just let her finish and we'll watch her round off back handspring. At one point she does it. Notice no finish position. She just relaxes her body and she just lets her arm just kind of do whatever she wants to. And she did that in like multiple takes. She did round up back handspring, she did other things, and she just relaxed at the end. If fear is a psychological problem and it's not just like imaginary, but it's actually neurological, it's actually physiological, it's a wiring of your brain, then you actually need a finish position just as you need a start position. You need starts and finishes so that your brain can actually wire the skill complete. Like this is the beginning of the skill and this is the end of the skill. And our anxiety can go away when the skill is over. When you do not have a start and finish, especially when you're dealing with fear, it's really tricky to figure out where the anxiety needs to be in the whole entire story. And oftentimes an athlete who's struggling with fear will give up too early before the skill actually is over. Like for example, when she's relaxing there, she's relaxing at the exact same spot that she would be then connecting another back handspring. And so she's not setting up her future very well because she's doing roundoff back handspring relax instead of roundoff back handspring freeze, hold a position so that she could eventually put in another back handspring. So she's not setting her future up. Just a loss of time and training. She's gonna have to relearn that. Okay, let's see what she got going on.
There's always a.
Okay, the other thing is we're gonna go.
Nervousness.
Well, I guess we'll just pause it here. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Nervousness.
I want you to see. Okay, so since she can't see her feet, see her head's already picking up. She can't see her feet. Okay, so now look what her hips are doing. They're going down. Okay, hips are going down. All right, and now she's not using her hips really to do the back handspring. She's mostly just throwing her chest into the ground. Now she's finally pushing her legs. It's a little bit out of coordination, out of sync. I wouldn't say she has terrible shapes, like decent shapes, decent tension, but the coordination, timing of how everything's supposed to work, not working in sync.
I remember at 15, I woke up
and you might say, well, she's working on, that was a better example of things being uncoordinated. You might say, well, she's working on getting over her fear. This is the number one problem that so many people struggle with understanding. You do not overcome fear when you lack confidence in coordination. You have to be confidently coordinated to actually overcome your fear. You actually have to have proprioception to overcome your fear. You actually have to have an awareness of where you are to overcome your fear. And so oftentimes athletes are not in sync in their coordination. You go, why are they afraid? It's like, well, of course they're afraid. So example B is her knees over her toes. You can see knees over toes. This is a problem because she's not actually leaning or falling. It's her chest that's doing the leaning or falling, not the body is actually leaning or falling. I wouldn't say that's a terrible shape. That's good, but she again has fear. So she's not fully committed.
Of my gymnastics, scared of going backwards.
Okay, this is another example of something that I wouldn't be doing if I was teaching somebody who had fear. And again, I'm not knocking the coach because the coach is doing a great job and she has all the right stuff. But if I was dealing with an athlete who had fear, or just even an athlete learning to connect tumble, I want to show you something that so many people think is complicated and it's not. Look at this overturning of this hand. Okay, core position, leg, everything. If you're learning to connect tumble, I want you to understand, or just anything, I want you to understand that this position, to get it correct, is not hard. Roundoffs are annoyingly complicated to teach because most people don't try hard enough to actually do them correctly, but they're not actually hard to do. They're hard to do because people don't try is the problem, not because it's actually physically complicated. For her hand to go in the correct position is no harder than her hand to be in the wrong position. For her core to be in correctly is no more difficult than for her core to be out. For all the problems that she has, or the problems that she's doing, are literally just as challenging as the problems to do, or the solutions to make them correct. I wouldn't have somebody who struggles with round-offing correctly. I wouldn't have them connect round-off back handsprings because I already know that they're uncoordinated in the round-off. I would be having them do back handspring connections until I see max effort and accelerations through those back handspring connections, and then I would bring in the round-off. Now, I do understand that when you're learning to do something that you're scared of, there's going to be a breakdown. So obviously there's a breakdown in her round-off. Maybe her round-off is better. But if her round-off is not better, let's say you're a gymnastics coach or a cheerleading coach or a tumbling coach, and this is how you allow round-offs to be, and then you try to solve back handspring problems, that's the reason why you have back handspring problems. Because she's fully setting up the back handspring wrong. She's got everything out of alignment, everything uncoordinated, and she's got to bring it all back into alignment and coordination before she can connect the back handspring. Is she good enough to do that? No, she's not. One, because she has fear. Two, because we already know she's not an advanced level athlete. If you're an elite level athlete or an experienced level athlete, you can throw the sloppiest round-offs and be just fine because you know how to fix your mistakes. This young lady's not ready to learn how to fix her mistakes, so she needs to get the least amount of mistakes possible while she's learning.
Stood on the beam with my arms up for.
That's another thing I want to show you. Here's another coaching cue. You see this in back handsprings all the time. This is a relaxation of the chest, and this brings up a point of the different type of skills. Okay, so she's got a head throw, she's got loose arms, and her arms are going wide. They were narrow, and they're going wide, which means it's an opening of the chest. She's opening her chest to try to back handspring. Not what you should be seeing when you try to back handspring. It's a relaxation of the core. Now, why does this matter? Because there's two types of skills. There's either the skills that you do, or there's the skills that happen and you go along for the ride. The skills that you do is what she's doing. You literally have to muscle through the entire skill. You have to make the skill happen. If you don't, then the skill won't happen. It relies on your ability to just make things happen. This relies on her. The skills that you just go along for the ride are when you put so much energy in the system that it doesn't matter if you try or don't try, the skill is just going to happen. All you've got to do is go for the ride. She does not have enough tension in her body, enough tension in the system to actually make the back handspring work. Because she lacks the tension and the energy in the system, then she has to shape change as an athlete to make it happen. It's too much thinking, too much precision, too much responsibility on her to be successful. Had she known how to keep the tension in the system, she could just use the tension to rotate her and there'd be less things going on. Actually, it's a simpler back handspring. It almost seems like it's scarier, but you have to learn to trust the system, and it's actually not. It's actually easier. So what she's actually doing is a harder version of a back handspring, which is why, and this is what I want to bring to at least my audience, whoever's watching this, I want you to really understand the more correct gymnastic skill is, the easier it is. Okay, never is a gymnastic skill become more difficult the more correct it becomes. So when you see an athlete do a skill wrong, I want you to know that it's actually harder to do a gymnastic skill wrong. That actually makes it more challenging and more difficult than to do it correctly. When you do it correctly, then you are more efficient. By being more efficient means that it requires less energy, less effort, less intention, because everything's just happening. When you do something wrong, you have to have an awareness level that is just high, spidey senses going off, high alert. And so my expectation on a person is if you can do something with bent elbows, then you can do it with straight elbows because it's easier with straight elbows. If you can do something with your arms going wide, then you can do it with your arms narrow because that's actually easier. So it's flipping it on your head. Don't think that they're making the mistake to make the skill easier. They're actually making the mistake because they don't trust. They don't trust that the skill is easier when done correctly. The skill's always easier when it's done correctly.
Being with my arms up for about 3 hours before.
Look at her arm position. So arm position, lack of intention in the brain, shows her arms are taking a nap right now. When you're dealing with fear, you need to be intentional in all phases and all steps. She's not intentional with her arms. Now we'll go back. So I want you to notice the hands. Let me step this, sorry. Okay, so there's 3 things that are going to happen. 1, we have no arm engagement, okay?
I figured out.
Hands closed, and then the smile.
I figured
okay.
out. This is all in my head.
One thing that this coach does a really great job is she's mirroring the body language of the athlete. The athlete's smiling, she's smiling. The athlete is embarrassed, or she's just not feeling comfortable, or she's nervous, whatever it might be. She's got an emotional response going on, so she's smiling, and the coach is smiling, mirroring the body language, saying, you are safe. This is a safe place. Don't you worry about it. We're going to be okay. Your timing, when you're ready. You can see that the seriousness and the energy is very in favor of the athlete. It's very athlete-centered, very, very good energy. If the coach's face was serious, like frustrated, like, oh my goodness, can you just go already? Like, we've been doing this for how many times? Like, if the coach's face was negative, the athlete would be all smiling because they're embarrassed. There'd be such a disconnect between coach and athlete. If there's no trust in that system, and now the athlete has to deal with fear of skill, and then they have to deal with fear of you, the coach, you're goners. Like, you're not winning at all. This coach, she understands the importance of mirroring the body language, creating a safe space so that the athlete is de-escalating their emotions, de-escalating the anxiety that's wanting to elevate. She's like, hey, let's bring it down. I'm with you. Like, we'll go at your pace. It just makes the whole situation better. So that's one thing you have to notice. The other thing, though, is you had arms not engaged. The little hand thing that she does, very common to see when people are nervous. They close their fist, they close their hands and make a fist. And then you see the smile happen with the emotion. So here we are in a serious moment, and then all of a sudden we're smiling because we're embarrassed or we're uncomfortable. Okay, very simple cues to look at to say that there's some emotional turmoil going on inside of a person, and you as a coach need to pick up on those cues as quickly as possible and not use the generic, like, just go for it, you can do this, don't worry about it, stop thinking, just chuck it. No. This person's having an emotional response, and they need you to connect to that emotional response and create a safe space and make them feel safe. Build the trust, then you can get past that. But oftentimes those are simple cues to be looking for. In athletes, they do it all the time. And as a coach, you should be actually telling the athlete to not go. Like, the moment you see those arms not engaged, don't go, your arms aren't engaged. The moment you see the hand starting to do this, stop, don't go, walk away, drop your arms, move away, come back when you're ready. You don't want to see hand flickerings. The moment the face is starting to make different facial expressions and stuff like that, you're not engaged. We need to walk away and come back when you feel safe. And that's going to actually build trust because you're looking out for their safety.
Just swing my arms and do it. And just swing my arms and do it. Interchanges. Don't think about it. Okay, I'm still right here. I can reach out. Your body knows how to do
and again,
it. You've done it so many times.
Her body, I mean, I'm going to disagree with the instructor here on this point. Her body doesn't know how to do this, okay? Her body has not done it enough correctly. And you can see because the arms are not engaged. There's the arms, they're not engaged, okay? So her head is sticking out. She's already out of alignment. And then see when she snaps down, she doesn't know where her feet are. And because she can't see her feet and she's not leaning, she's not falling, if she were to throw from that position, she'd go up. So she has to then go, well, what am I doing? I'm going to take a step back because she doesn't know where she is. Any competence, not a really good word, but confident. Any confident athlete in their abilities could have back handspringed out of that. She's not confident in her abilities because she doesn't know where she is. I can guarantee you she doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know where up from down is based off of where her head position and what she's looking at.
So many times there's so many repetitions. So many times there's so many repetitions. It's when we let our brains get in the way.
I am not a fan. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a fan of this being a learning way for anybody who's afraid of back tumbling. I will show you right here because this is the worst position to back tumble from right there. If you're scared of back tumbling, that is, you're set up to fail. And go watch some fail videos. You're going to see a lot of that happening where the knees are over the toes, the hip bend, they're sitting so low that, I mean, if one thing goes wrong and she goes up instead of back and down, I mean, the whole thing stalls on itself. She's set up for that. She has to do it correctly, otherwise she messes up. So the skill is reliant on her. If she was in a correct lean fall position, then the only thing that could possibly happen is success. But because she's in this setup, she could bail on this setup. This is an opportunity for her to bail and get out of this and mess everything up. And so I do not like athletes finishing in this position. What position, Raleigh, would you finish them? I would actually have them do multiple back handsprings connected, for one. For two, I would not want them to sit down that low. I would want them to stand up a lot taller and make sure that they fall before they actually worry about throwing. There's a lot of other steps. I'd be on a trampoline really teaching most of the confidence you needed so you didn't even come into this problem. But this is very common in gymnastics.
Experience fear on a bigger level.
She's got decent shapes, but again, arms dropping, right? She's not.
Fear is normal.
She's not doing her arms. She got no arm intentionality right there.
Where the strength comes out.
Hesitation again. She's hesitating.
Some kids.
Okay. Again, the knees. Look at the knees.
Trust.
Again, I would not. I'm gonna come back to this. Let's see here. Let's go YouTube. Come back. Boopity boop. Okay. I just want you to see her squat. Look how low her squat is. And look at what she's doing to get her squat. Do you see how her knees are bending forwards to get the squat? That again, her head's looking up. She's not looking at the ground. She's not falling. She's still on balance. A back handspring is supposed to be you turn it over so you get off balance and you actually throw on the fall. She's staying on balance, but just by her knee adjustment right there. Okay, so she lands, she comes down, she allows her knees to push forwards, and now her chest to move back. This is the most dangerous place you can be because athletes mess this up all the time. I actually have a couple of videos I'll throw up just to show you this type of setup and why it fails.
Trust.
Now, will she get better? Absolutely, she'll get better. The coach is awesome. You can see the coach is very caring. So over time, the girl's going to get better. But is she going to get better fast enough? That's the question. And is this problem ever going to show back up again? I don't really know.
Sometimes it's I'm tired from school, I'm worn out, my body's tired from gym.
Okay, there you go. That's that body language again. And you as coaches need to understand this. Let's get back to it. Let's see if we can get her to. Man, YouTube's moving too slow over here. Let's see here. What do we got? All right, here we go. Let's see. Okay, you see that? Hands closed again. Didn't watch. So arms not intentional. Hands closed. Now you see the smile on the face again. Same pattern of behavior. Oh, hands closed again. Okay, she's thinking. She's like, I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do this. Okay, I guess I'll go.
We're asking them to do.
Okay, this drives me crazy as a coach because sometimes your job as a coach is to just call the BS and the lie that's happening inside a person's brain. Like, they don't know. Like, this young girl, she has no idea how the neurology is working inside her mind, how the neurotransmitters, how the axons and the dendrites are connecting. She doesn't understand how the pathways that have been connected and created. Like, she doesn't understand any of that. She just loves gymnastics. She's in this gym that looks like they've got some high-level people. I've seen Olympic stuff on the wall, so they're a legit gym. They got a great American flag. I mean, the gym is clean. She's just in a gym doing gymnastics, and she loves gymnastics. You can see that, but she doesn't understand what's happening here. And you can see that she doesn't understand what's happening here. And I'm going to prove to you that you can see that she doesn't understand what's happening here. Because look, I'm going to walk you through this. It's so... You need to my opinion. What do I know? Nothing. I'm a nobody. This is how I approach it. Okay. Don't do what I say. Because why would it work? This girl's standing here with her arms up. Okay. Stand with her arms up. Okay. I'm going to put my arms down. Okay. I'm going to put my, wait a second. She could just put her arms up and go instantaneously. She didn't have to stand there awkwardly. Consistency. If you can lift your arms and just go, then you should never have your arms up longer than just go. It's just it. So there's behavior patterns that are being allowed that should not exist. Now, am I being a stickler? Am I being mean? No, I'm not. I'm really not. Okay. Look, this girl was standing. This young lady is standing here. Okay, she's nervous. Her arm. Look how long her arms are up there for.
Frustration.
We already know she could have back handspring because she just did it. The beauty of gymnastics or anything in life is this. And when a person does something, it proves to you they can do it. And if you can do it, you can do it again. Life is not something like, well, I can only do it once. No. If you can do it, you can do it again. Okay. There's very, very few things that it's like, I did it, but I can never do it again. I can eat my food, but now I forgot. I can walk, but now I don't know how. I have to relearn. No, once you know how to get things as a human being, you know how to keep those things. Her arms are hanging out there, up in the air, floating in the air. I'm nervous. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? But then she just lifts them and goes. She has deceived herself. She doesn't know this, but the athlete has deceived herself because she's been allowed to overthink. She's been allowed to have this wait, hesitate, instead of being told there's only one way you're allowed to get into this, and that is lift your arms and go. That would take out a lot, that eliminates a lot of the story that's happening inside her mind. If the only story she's allowed to have inside her mind is you stand with your arms down, you lift your arms and go, then she would start over every single time with her arms down, and she would just lift her arms and go. And I would argue that this is a much easier back handspring to do. Lift your arms and go is so much easier than stand with your arms above your head and then try to back handspring. That's you're a longer lever. It's just much slower. This is a much faster way to get into your back handspring. Lift your arms and go. The fact that she can do it means that she should be doing it this way every single time. Every single time is what I'd be saying, is this is the only way you're allowed to do it. Now you'd be like, Raleigh, she has a fear issue and she should do it however she feels comfortable. Yes, but people don't know what is best for them sometimes, and if you just allow them to do what they feel is comfortable, might actually be the thing that is detrimental to them long term. And the fact is she can do this, so we know she's comfortable because she can do it. Now, I'm not asking her to do something she can't do. I know she can do this because I just saw her do it, so that's how she should be doing it every single time. She should be doing it this way, where she just lifts and goes. Look at that. And do you see the energy in that back handspring? The energy in that back handspring was way better than all the other back handspring she did. Like, there was actual energy in this back handspring where she just lifts and goes. She just lifts and she goes. And let's see if her sit was any better in this back handspring. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, we don't know what's happening over there. Okay, here we go. Head still sticking out. We won't criticize the round off. Whatever. It's a decent-ish round off. We're happy with it. Let's see here. Okay, her head is lifting. Let's see here. Yeah, she still got that problem with the knees driving forwards, but at least her chest is moving fast enough by the time she's pushing, her chest is falling. Whatever. Wait, let me look at the energy coming out of that. That's way better. Now, why wasn't she doing that round off back handspring on the resi or on the pit with the 8-incher? Because she's doing it on the floor at the hardest surface. She could have been doing this type of round off on a total different surface connection. Maybe she's afraid of the gap. Maybe she's more confident here. Here she is again with her arms up in the air and her fists closed. I'd be like, drop your arms. You just drop your arms and do it from the arm swing. Oh, I'm not ready. Okay, I don't feel comfortable. Okay, let me put my arms up. Okay, I'll put them down. Okay, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what my start position is. I don't know how serious to be. Now she has really nice arms. Too much is going on inside the brain. I'm just letting you know. Too much. It's got to be clear, concise, and consistent. Just bam, this is how we do it every single time. Give it to me the same way every single time. The brain needs consistency. It needs consistency. That's how it builds confidence. No, I don't know what to do with my arms again. Right? I just stood there. I don't know what to do with my arms. Because what's the cue for your brain to go? There isn't one. There's hold your arms above your head for 47 seconds and tell your brain to go. That's not a cue for your brain to go. Arms by your side, lift your arms up and go. That's the cue. Your brain's going to commit to that a lot better than just go because you're supposed to. Okay? She's doing great. I mean, you can see the attitude and the mentality of this girl is awesome. She's probably a really great person to work with.
Don't let the fear win. You got it, kiddo. Right here. Fear is normal.
Do you see that up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down? It is so important. Again, what do I know, right? I mean, I'm not the guru of the internet over here. Okay, I've just got opinions. I've just got opinions from my own experiences. But I do think that I have a way that makes things actually work and actually make sense to both the athlete and the coach. it is important to make sure that the space at which the skill is being performed is sacred. And what I mean by that is do not linger in the space you're supposed to perform in. There's performance and there's not performance, and you want to make that a distinction in your brain so that your brain knows it's ready to go. Be nervous, but be nervous outside of the space of performance so that when you're on and you're in performance zone, you're always on and your brain is committed. Building that commitment is key because otherwise we allow indecision to enter the performance space. And when you have indecision in the performance space, now you have to train indecision out of the performance space. Or you could just never allow it in the first place. Make that space sacred and say, look, when you're ready to go, you step in the space and you go. If you're not ready to go, you get out of the space. Kind of like the batter's box. It's like when you're ready to bat, stand in the batter's box. And when you're not ready to bat, get out of the batter's box and think about it. But when you get in, we're going. Gymnastics needs to have the same. Coaches need to understand that's a psychological thing. Like, don't go up onto the stage as an actor. You're performing in some sort of play. Don't go on the stage and be like, I'm not acting right now. No, when you get on that stage, it should be a sacred space where you understand the importance of showing up and being present. Now, I'm not saying that you can't goof around and be silly. I'm not saying that she can't enjoy herself, but there needs to be a distinction, especially when you're struggling. When you're struggling, you do not want that space to get confused inside the mind of what is what. You want that space to be considered sacred. So anytime a person is dealing with fear, make the space sacred so that it stays as a safe, sacred space, and you know that they step out and they breathe, they relax, they shake themselves, they smile, they do whatever they need to do, and they tell themselves outside of the space, I'm committed, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready. And when they step in the space, they're walking into that commitment. They've already pre-applied inside their mind, they preconceived, I'm going to make commitment happen, I'm going to step into the space and bam, go. And if you can't, get out of the space. Now, that's just my opinion, but that's how I believe you should develop, basically build fear, get over fears and build through them to build confidence, because it's going to apply to performance level gymnastics as well when she comes to perform. And also as a coach, that distinction just needs to be there as a coach to help you understand what is allowed to be relaxed, play, fun, and what do we need to be intentional with, and how do those spaces different. It's a very good distinction for the brain.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. That actually exacerbates the fear.
Do you see the body language and how much thinking the brain is going through and how much the body language is twitching and doing all these things? Walk away. Just wiggle it out someplace else and then come and just do the bam back handspring like you did a second ago. There's a mixed message happening inside her mind that she's allowed there to wrestle inside her mind and actually negotiate with herself in that space. And we just saw a second ago that she knows how to just lift her arms and go. And so because she knows how to lift her arms and go, that expectation, that standard was not set inside the brain. So now the brain is negotiating. No different than a child having a mom and dad, and one parent says no and the other parent says yes, and so then the child knows when they get the no from one parent, they're going to go around that parent to the other parent and get the yes. And there's this negotiation happening because there's no clear boundaries inside the brain to actually understand what is what.
Every day. As a gymnast, you've got to learn to
cannot trust a sit that stalls. You just can't. She doesn't know where her sit is. I just cannot stress that enough. Her transition of her sit is wrong, and that's why she lacks confidence. 100% guaranteed.
Trust your coaches. You have to learn to trust your coaches. You have to learn to trust yourself, trust your body. When fear is happening, you lose that trust.
You saw the hesitation again. Because why? Why is she hesitating? Why is she allowed to hesitate? Let's get over here. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing with my arms. I don't know where I am because I can't see the ground, because I can't see my feet, because I don't know what fall feels like. She's too upright. She doesn't know how to make a back handspring happen without that really low sit. She doesn't know how to fall and actually throw her. She's totally safe, but she doesn't know how to back handspring from that level of little of compression, essentially. And so then she doesn't do it. She bails.
We haven't done that in a long time. They have to learn not to be so hard on themselves and forgive themselves for experiencing that fear.
You see how much play is happening in her body, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And it's really good that she's working it out. But over time, I wouldn't allow that. You can notice that some coaches just allow that behavior to exist, and they think that they're going to get someplace. This coach and athlete have a relationship. They probably worked, 20 20 hours a week with each other or something like that for X amount of weeks. There's a relationship there. So the coach is allowing a certain type of behavior, leniency on it. I doubt this coach would allow her to do that every single time as she gets more and more confident in it. But you, as somebody who's dealing with an athlete, I want you to notice that behavior and say, hey, it might be too much for me to manage what is what. So I need you to step aside, get your wiggles out, and when you're ready, come in so you can show me that you're ready, so then I can be ready. We can all be ready together, and then we can just go. And that's a more time-efficient way of doing something, especially when you're dealing with a large group of students. One-on-one, okay, maybe you can get away with it, whatever. But you got 12 kids in line, you can't be doing that every single time with 12 kids in line. It just gets longer and longer and longer and longer. And as coaches, we don't know how to discern what is what, and you might allow your athlete to do that for 30 seconds before they go and think that's okay because the other girl did it. It's not okay. Don't allow people to constantly do that.
To serve, that's it. To inspire, to serve, that's it. To inspire, yes, that's it. And we're here to lead. If they show up willing to put one foot in front of the other, there's always a solution.
I'm going to show you, we're going to go jump into some back handspring fails. We're going to jump into some back handspring fails for a second. Let's see what this back handspring fail looks like. Okay, here's a back handspring fail video, and we're going to look at where she's looking when her feet hit the ground and then what her sit looks like, just so we can understand some things. So let's look at it live for full speed, well, whatever speed the video is doing it at. Oh, look at that. It's terrible. I'm so sorry for that young lady. I hope she's okay. That looks scary as all get out. Do you see where her eyes are when her feet are in contact? They're looking forwards. She cannot see her feet at all. And so then she just starts throwing her feet. Oh, you're just like, no, Raleigh, she's looking at her hands. Right. She can't see her feet. You should be able to see your feet. Guaranteed. Okay. Now look where the sit is. You see how the knees are buckling forward? She's doing the same exact bend that the other girl was, just at the wrong angle. And we're out of here. Let's go look at the next one. What's this girl going to do? Sorry that it's so blurry, but this is what I found. Okay, here we go. Okay, we don't need to watch that, do we? Look how low her sit is. Look where her knees are pushing forwards to. Look where her eyes are, her head. You're like, I can't see her head because it's invisible because of the frame rate. Her eyes are looking forward. She cannot see her feet. All right, it took me a little bit to find a video, but I found a video of a young lady who can see her feet. And I think this is a perfect example of somebody who maybe doesn't have the quality that they need to be having to tumble, but she can see her feet. And because she can see her feet, you can tell the level of confidence in her tumbling. It's just evident. So I want you to see that, okay, this girl does not look as clean in quality as the previous girl that we just watched, but I want you to see when it gets to connective tumbling, what she's looking for with her eyes. So just check this out. You're going to notice something. There is something happening in her energy. Her energy is not bad. And I want to break this down, okay? Her energy, I mean, quality, yeah, we can argue, man, should this girl be doing roundoff back handsprings? I'm not even going to go there in this conversation because you can see the energy is there. The energy, and this girl has the effort. So look where she's looking. Look at that. She can see her feet. Such a good, important thing to know how to do when you are learning. Now, high-level tumblers, they don't have to do this anymore because they're just accelerating their chest to make tumbling happen. But that doesn't mean they can't do it, and that's the thing you need to understand. She can see her feet, and then boom, she just chucks her chest after that point that she can see her feet. Okay, so she knows to look, oh, there's the feet, and then boom, just throw your chest as far and hard as you possibly can. And you can see that she has a level of, I mean, the girl's quality is not as good as the previous one, but this girl isn't scared. This girl isn't scared because she can see her feet when she tumbles. She knows where the ground is, and she knows how to throw once she gets there. I don't know why this person likes to stop. She's probably talking through the video for us. Okay, there's the entry angle. Good job. Let's just get to the I can see my feet. This is actually the most important part of the video, and they don't stop it and show it to you. It's funny. Right here. Let's see here. We're getting there. Patience, patience, patience. Here we go. Right there. You can tell she can see her feet. That's huge. Learning how to connective tumble doesn't matter how sloppy, how loose, how gooey it might be. Okay, because if you can see your feet, you can chuck your chest as hard and fast as you possibly want into the ground because you know where the ground is. You have a frame of reference, and everything gets a whole lot easier from there because you can see your feet. Let's see if there's any other examples of this young lady going. Let's see what she does here. It'd be nice if they just did full speed so we'd actually see the energy that's going into this. Boom, I can see my feet. Okay, and you can see that she picks her head up at the end right here. Okay, you can see that she's picking her head up right there because she's stopping, because she's not connecting. But when she went to connect, what did she do? Let's find it. What did she do when she went to connect? And this can show you that sometimes we obsess too much about the details and the quality, and we don't obsess about how to move and the proprioception and the awareness of something. She's looking at her feet. She can see them. They're on that mat. Then she knows, hey, it's go time. Now it gives her enough time to pass over her feet and to throw. Bam. That's the magic sauce right there when you're learning how to connect tumbles. So if you're afraid or you're working with somebody, let's see if they do full speed. That'd be nice if they do. They don't do full speed. But you can still, yeah, no one cares about that. We care about this. Care about that. We care about that. She can see her feet. We care about that. That's actually the most important part. And let's see if this steps forwards. Man, they're just really, there we go. There it is. Boom. Okay. So there's a good example of a young girl who has less quality, doesn't look like she knows how to have straight arms or body positions. But heck, she knows where her feet are. And so then she can tumble. What's this one? Oh yeah, let's look at this. Okay, check this out. Check this little one out. She's got it figured out. Okay. Look at this. Okay, so she's throwing her head a little bit too early. You can tell that she's picking her head up. And I would say, hey, just look at your feet a little bit longer. But you can see that they're willing to go. They're willing to go. Now, I don't know what hers looks like on the floor, but that other young girl who could see her feet, that was the huge part. And that's what I want you to know is you should be able to see your feet when you go to connect tumble. Okay. Other than that, I hope you found things in this video that you liked. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. If you want me to make a video about something else and just break it down with a bunch of nuances, let me know, and I'll keep making videos. Have a great one.